I think about all the levers that are the most proven. I think about lifestyle first and foremost, especially exercise. I think exercise is as close to a panacea as we have when it comes to health span. And then food, I think, is one of the most important levers, especially getting your glucose where it needs to be.
Hello, I'm Dr. William Morgan, president of Parkview University and Parker Seminars. And today I have a very special guest, Dr. Sara Gottfried. Dr. Gottfried, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. So happy to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Sure. I'm an integrative physician. I practice precision medicine. I'm the director of precision medicine at Thomas Jefferson University. I do genetics and biomarkers and kind of put those together. I'm focused on health span. I'm focused on how do you perform at your peak ability throughout your life.
So we're really interested in something called 20 more good years. Not just 20 more years of life, but you get to about 65 and people tell you it's time to slow down and retire and start remembering those good days. But if you're somebody who's an executive or have high function and you're like, I'm really happy with what I'm doing and I really just feel like I've learned this. I want to continue on. I want to do great things for the next 20 years. How could we prepare that person to move forward?
Well, I love this idea of 20 more good years because it's empowering. It's super empowering. And I would say this idea of just, kind of sailing off into the sunset, that's a choice. It is a choice. And so what can you do? I think about all the levers that are the most proven. I think about lifestyle first and foremost. Especially exercise. I think exercise is as close to a panacea as we have when it comes to health span. So that means exercising pretty hard, not just the 150 minutes per week of moderate exercise, but I would say strength training together with cardio, together with stretching and yoga. And then food, I think, is one of the most important levers, especially getting your glucose where it needs to be.
That's a bit of a great theme with our speakers here at Parker Seminars. And we had Eddie Galpin this morning talking about all those things. Strength. You need to be strong. Not just so you have muscle mass, but have a great be strong, but also be aerobically fit, being able to do it, be mobile, be able to move around. And if you can't move, well, you're going to start degrading. So, and then you spoke a little bit about blood glucose monitoring as well. So the exercise right now is is if you have one thing you can do, exercise, sleep, and don't eat bad foods, but whatever that means. So,
well, I want to set the bar pretty high when it comes to glucose and eating the right foods. And I think we have to personalize. What are the foods that are the best for you? What's the best fuel for the exercise and for health span? So that differs from one person to the next. Some people do really well with fruit. Other people need more vegetables. A lot of people don't do well with ultra-processed foods. So we've got to really personalize nutrition. I think that's critical, along with sleep, along with connection, purpose.
Oh, yeah. You're preaching to the choir. So you also talked a little bit about our numbers. The 120 for blood glucose, you're diabetic below that, that women have different numbers possibly than men. Because did you say in your speech that women tend to have more sequela to high glucose than men?
Exactly right.
So that means the number should be lower.
So women need to be lower. So we know that for men, they start to have vascular damage when they have a fasting glucose that's 126 milligrams per deciliter or higher. For women, that damage starts to begin around 110 to 115 milligrams per deciliter. So women are more vulnerable, and we just need to be thinking, especially in our pre-diabetic patients, how do we intervene sooner?
Do most physicians know that?
No.
Okay.
They don't even tell their patients they have pre-diabetes. So that's a great opportunity.
So pre-diabetes, and then we talk about Alzheimer's as it being type 3 diabetes. Have you heard that?
I have heard that. So we know that the same enzyme that breaks down insulin also clears the amyloid plaque.
Oh, really?
So if your insulin is high and your enzyme is busy dealing with that, you're going to accumulate more amyloid plaque.
So what enzyme is that?
It's insulin degrading enzyme.
Okay, so that helps clear out the amyloid plaques, out of the. And how about tau proteins? Does that affect that at all?
I don't know that it affects tau proteins, but I would say managing your glucose, doing some of these things that we're talking about that are important for health span, they're also important for preventing Alzheimer's disease.
They all go together.
They all go together.
We know that if you're obese at middle age, you're twice as likely to get Alzheimer's, even if you lose the weight.
Yes.
So there's the best thing, and of course the best time to treat diabetes is 25 years ago.
That's right. Before you make the diagnosis.
You're trim and fit, and you told the audience that you're pre-diabetic. Tell us about that.
Well, I had prediabetes in my 30s. So I had glucose intolerance in my pregnancies, because pregnancies are a stress test. A lot of people don't realize that.
Makes sense.
And some of us fail because we become more insulin resistant in pregnancy. So in my 30s, I developed prediabetes. I've mostly reversed it. Occasionally with a big stress or with a lot of travel, I'll start to see my glucose rise, but wearing a continuous glucose monitor, personalizing nutrition, getting a lot of exercise, lifting heavy.
Yeah.
That's what really makes the difference.
Lifting heavy, that is so important. And we have a strength and human performance master's degree at our campus. In fact, when you come to our camp,
I'm gonna come visit. I'm so excited.
We've got probably the best gym you've ever seen on our campus.
Okay.
And we are about,
workout?
oh, hell yeah. Yeah, you'll
you?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
kill it. So, and it's a playground. The gym is a playground too.
Amazing.
It is amazing. So exercise, keeping proper body weight, but you kept your proper body weight and your exercise, and you still had a little bit of a struggle.
I lost 25 pounds of mostly fat.
Okay.
So I've had a lot of changes that I've made in the past 5 to 10 years. I wrote a book about health span called Younger. So I got very focused on this, and I got especially interested in the gene environment interface. So once I knew my genetics, I was able to adjust my environment so that my ecosystem was better set up for glucose and insulin. So that made a big difference.
That's fantastic. So we exercise, sleep, cortisol. How does that affect blood sugar?
So stress makes blood sugar go up. You know, stress is a typical fight-flight response so that you can run from a tiger or fight a tiger. And so what we want to do is manage cortisol, the stress hormone, so that it's not too high, not too low. We want it right in that Goldilocks.
How do you manage it? Do you take a supplement to help manage it?
I don't like jumping to a supplement, so I like to use meditation, yoga. Those are my primary ways of managing cortisol.
So damping it through mindfulness.
Through lifestyle. I mean, there are supplements like phosphatidylserine, like fish oil. Those help cortisol, but I would say go with lifestyle first.
You know anything about hyperbarics?
I'm a fan of hyperbarics. I don't know the data so well. How about you?
So I'm as a hyperbaric chamber operator in the Navy, medical type, plus a Navy diver. We had a dear friend of mine just came up from 100 days underwater today.
100 days?
100 days.
Why would you spend 100 days?
I didn't go there.
Why would someone do that, though?
He's a scientist, and he's a deep sea
It's
diving.
an experiment.
Yeah. So the things we're finding is increased telomere length,
Oh, interesting.
increased what else? Stem cell production. Yeah,
Now I see why you would want to do that.
yeah. There's some pretty awesome things.
So regenerative medicine you get from being at depth.
At depth. So they're still working out. He's an N of one.
Yeah.
But there's animal studies. There's with rodent studies. They're showing that you put them in mild hyperbaric exposure for 5 days in a row for 1 hour, and they'll have an increase in their telomere lengths. They've had a study with, I think, 36 humans. They did something similar.
Okay.
And it's, just because you have longer telomeres doesn't mean you're going to live longer.
Right. I mean, cancer.
Yeah.
Can be associated with longer telomeres. But
what's
very interesting.
Tell me about cancer and telomeres.
So cancerous cells have longer telomeres, so longer telomeres are not always the best.
Oh.
But hyperbarics has a lot of other benefits,
Oh, yeah.
especially in terms of recovery.
Yeah, we used it when I worked at Walter Reed for limb salvage, for people who were facing an amputation.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. It's intriguing. We still need more data.
Yes.
But it's exciting. But
Yes,
I'd
it
bring that in there. Yeah. So you wrote the book Younger. You also have another book. What's your other book?
So I've got 4 New York Times bestsellers. There's The Hormone Cure, The Hormone Reset Diet, Younger, and Women, Food, and Hormones.
And that's what you brought to us, and you just had a book signing.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so very much. And thank you for joining us today.
Of course. My pleasure, Bill.
So you've been listening to Dr. Sara Gottfried, and this is Parker University.